Na 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. 5 reasons why Windows Phone will never be the same. That's coming up right now. Let's go. What is up, guys? Nick here from Everything Tech, help you to master your technology, and welcome to 5 reasons why Windows Phone is dying and why it will never be the same. Number 1, apps. So the first and obvious one is the applications on Windows Phone. The applications are just not there, and this is pretty obvious. I mean, you didn't even have to watch this video to know this. But what I want to specifically talk about is the fact that a lot of major companies that make applications have been pulling their apps from the stores, as well as major developers. So, you know, a lot of the big time apps, and Instagram still hasn't been updated. So anything trending, you're really not getting it here on the Microsoft. So if you're anybody who, you know, does anything creative for a living or anything like that, this is really a hard platform to recommend, because this platform just doesn't stay up to date with the times, and that's pretty sad. I mean, Microsoft actually updates the Windows Phone platform, so the software itself gets updated. That I'm not saying. But the applications in the store don't get updated very often, and developers are just not focusing their times on there. So that's the first reason why Windows Phone will never be the same, is because application developers are leaving. They're not coming to the platform. So how can it ever, you know, be the same or grow if people are leaving and not focusing any effort in on the platform? And I mean, you can't blame them. Why would they focus their efforts on an area where nobody is camping out? It's kind of like putting your restaurant over there in the corner of the wall where nobody's going to see it. That's pretty much why I think developers are leaving. Number 2, software enhancements. So the number 2 reason why they won't be the same anymore is because they kind of ignore the fact that you need to improve your software. So yes, they did improve with Windows 10 and making it look a lot like the desktop, but in terms of the feature set, they've really been lagging behind Android and Apple. For example, in the notifications tray, you got many more features that are built within the notifications tray of Android and Apple, as well as in the settings menu. If you go on the settings here on the Microsoft Windows platform, yeah, it's simplified, it works very well, but there's a lot of missing features that you can find within Apple and Android. And this is where I think Windows Phone lags behind once again, is that it kind of doesn't, you know, they're not quick with the updates in terms of features. They fix a lot of bug updates within their software. They make it smoother and stuff like that, but they don't they don't add a lot of new features or anything that really pushes the platform forward, like you're going to see somebody like Samsung, LG, Apple, Huawei, devices like that. So this is a reason why I think Windows Phone will never be the same, is because they just don't want to grow in their feature set. In my personal experience, that's what I've seen. Remember, this is just a subjective take. You got your opinions, you got your takes, comment those down below. Number 3, hardware enhancements. The third reason why Windows Phone will never be the same is because they've continuously put out a few budget phones here and there, but they never really pushed the boundaries in terms of hardware. Yeah, we've had a few metal-clad built smartphones, but they've always been squarish. There's a few curved Windows phones like the Alcatel series of Windows phones, but overall I feel like they're always a step behind Android, especially Android, in the world of smartphones. For example, the lack of 2K displays. You know, the Lumia 950 comes out with beastly specs but has a shell that doesn't remind you of anything premium. So I mean, if you're going to continue to ignore the fact of what people want in terms of the hardware on their smartphones, then you're setting yourself up to never be the same and to go down and pretty much die, which Windows Phone has been doing. And I know there's going to be a lot of Windows Phone users who are going to dislike this video because you are in love with Windows Phone, and that is totally okay. I understand. I'm just sharing my experience with you. This platform is one that I've loved, but I just feel like it's dying, and I wish they would come back, but I don't know if that's going to happen. 1% market share, and if it keeps going this way, this platform might go the way of BlackBerry and just fall off the map totally. But that's going to be a story to see, because Windows 10, the computers, the PCs, which I do use, are amazing and they are doing really well in terms of user base. So actually, Android just surpassed Windows as the most used operating system. So Windows still number 2 in the most used operating system, but the Windows Phone hardware is really something that is lagging behind, and my number 3 reason why Windows Phone will never be the same. Number 4 is brand awareness. So the 4th reason why Windows Phone is dying, and one that I've pretty much been aware of for a while, is the fact that Microsoft Windows Phone just doesn't have the same brand awareness. I mean, Apple puts out an event to launch an iPhone. Everybody knows what's going on. It's all over the news media. It's everywhere. Same with Samsung. They just dropped the Galaxy S8. It's all over. That's all that's on people's mind. And I almost guarantee that somebody in this video is not going to watch the full video and they're going to comment down below something about Galaxy S8 just because it was announced yesterday. So that just goes to show you that, brand awareness is huge when it comes to, making your product successful. And the Windows Phone platform, I just don't think had the brand awareness. I mean, I go into a mall that has actually both Apple Store and a Windows Store within the mall. The Apple Store is crowded. I go downstairs, the Microsoft Store is a ghost town. So, I mean, and they have a pretty nice store, I'm not going to lie. But brand awareness around Windows Phone is just not there. You don't see as many commercials, you don't see as many advertisements. And even when they were, a much more market share, like 7%, 8%, they still didn't have crazy marketing like where you would see them up on billboards and stuff like that. And that's one reason why I think that they fell and they will never be the same, because they didn't put enough effort into their marketing dollars and into their marketing research. But that's just my take. Once again, just my experience. I haven't seen many Windows Phone ads. I haven't seen many billboards. And it was just never stuck in the minds of most people, in my personal opinion. And the 5th and final reason is the duopoly of Android and Apple. Okay, Google, define duopoly.
Duopoly, a situation in which two suppliers dominate the market for a commodity or service.
So, Android and Apple dominate the market for a commodity or a service, as Google just said what a duopoly is. And essentially that's what they've been doing. They've been dominating the market. BlackBerry died pretty much. They just make Android phones now, which is kind of funny because they once were a competitor of Android. And Windows Phone, I think, is headed the same way. The only difference with Windows Phone is I don't think their hardware was ever as, desired after as BlackBerry with its keyboard. BlackBerry had the keyboard patent. That's pretty much what had them going, and that's what pretty much the fans still, buy BlackBerries for. But they don't really have much in the terms of hardware. Nokia made a Nokia 6, but that's an Android phone with a similar build to Windows Phone. So yeah, the duopoly, everyone pretty much has an Android and Apple, and the reason why this is a big problem for Windows Phone is that it's been integrated and woven into the fabric of our lives for so long that how can, you expect people to just switch that up now? I mean, we have so many services, so many passwords, so many things that are just now on Android or Apple that we work together that it's just really hard to go to Windows Phone. And one thing that really could change Windows Phone is if they had cross-platform apps with Android and Apple. That can really bring them back. But they don't have that either. So that is a problem too. So because Apple and Android, the services have been so interwoven into the fabric of our lives, that's why Windows Phone will never be the same again. It will never shine like it did. Now, I do want to address one fact before you wrap this video up. The Microsoft Surface Phone. I know this is on people's mind who like Windows Phone. And that phone is focusing a lot on hardware. Once again, the biggest problem with Windows Phone is not necessarily hardware, even though I said that they're not pushing the boundaries in terms of hardware. That's what they're going to do here with the Surface Phone. But if it's just another beautiful Windows Phone with great hardware, but we don't have the apps and the software, you can only expect another niche crowd of people to buy it. Enterprise and super hardcore Windows fans, which there are millions of those still out there, but we're not talking hundreds of millions. We're talking a very small select amount of people here. But that's pretty much my 5 reasons why Windows Phone will never be the same. The reason I made this video is because this is a platform that I really believed in, and I see it going away, and it really does sadden me a little bit because they had some really cool features like the the glance feature. That's pretty much what Apple or Samsung does now with the little clock, as well as Apple where it raises to wake. If you pull this out of your pocket, it'll wake up. So they did have some innovative things on Windows Phone. And I might do one more video on what is on my Windows Phone, just to check out to see some new cool apps for Windows Phone for those of you still using it. But let me know what you think about this down below in the comments section of this video. This was Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next one, and peace.